Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here with an Indian tea. Now, this is a tea that, I'll go ahead and tell a little bit about this first, not to get too carried away though. Not from the usual areas that you associate with tea. The Bihar region is an agricultural area, but not known for tea. When Rajiv Lochan worked to create the estate that is now established there, people told him this is a terrible place for tea, to start tea, and basically nothing would grow there. So I'll tell a bit more about that in just a moment. Indian, or a traditional tea tasting cup. This is the kind of cupping set you might see rows of as professionals are tasting. And so you saw me use my fingers, pinch out enough, cover the bottom, the bottom area of my cup. It's a very bulky leaf, so I needed to get plenty in there. And I'm filling up enough, and I'm using my gooseneck kettle here to make sure every little leaf gets saturated or dunked underneath the surface of the water. And when I finish pouring there, I'm just under the pouring or spout type area there. Lid with a hole. I'm going to put that back here towards my handle, so that as I tip this cup over, the air will flow through what becomes the higher portion of the cup, and it will pour out more smoothly. So let that sit. Introduce this tea. This is from the Lochan Tea Company. This is their Doke Silver Needle Second Flush. A lot of your silver needles, your original silver needles, were Chinese. This one is again from India, the Bihar region. What else was I going to say? A lot of Chinese may only do a first flush, that youngest, earliest. This is a second flush of silver needle. You can get 50 grams for $10. So yes, Lochan was told this area would be a disaster. This would not be an estate that would take off yet. That was several years ago, I want to say back in the 80s, but the information is on the product page there. It has taken off. It has come into its own. So I want to talk about this tea, the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. Starting off here with the dry. Give it a smell here. Now I'm getting some of the raisiny type smells that I associate with black teas. So I'm going to breathe on this and see what other kind of aromas I can draw out. Yeah, it's still that kind of raisiny, sweet smell. Any of the traditional Chinese kind of characteristics. Strawy, fresh hay type of smells, those are rather subdued. So suggesting to me that the tea variety used to create this was more likely in the family of black teas of some kind of Assam, rather than the more traditional Chinese type of silver needle that's based on the Fuding or that type of the Dabai type of tea variety that developed in China. So, picking up a needle here, couple of 1.5 inches, 2 inches in length, fuzzy, silver moving over towards a very pale golden type of color. Looking, some of these, the outer leaf there of the bud there you can tell it's about to kind of peel off and become its own leaf. And inside there you can still, as what would become kind of the upper side of that leaf, looking at it here, you can see that it's become black. It's gotten dark. So that looks like some oxidation took place on those. Okay, most of these are very well intact, complete needles. Many of them are large, an inch or more in length, although there are a few shorter ones in there. So that kind of basically covers the dry leaf there. I'm going to get now and pour. Now, I usually pour into my pitcher. But I'm going to pour into this. This is the cupping set as it usually comes with the bowl here. The idea being that you can quickly turn that over, rest it on the top of the bowl, and allow the upper cup portion to drain as you move along and maybe do several of these in sequence. Shake out the last few drops there. I'm going to pour that into the pitcher so we can look at the liquor together a little bit. Before we do that, I'm going to talk about this wet leaf and give it a shake to kind of let the leaves settle back down and give it a smell here. Still, those raisiny notes are the dominant here. Getting a little bit of light brown sugar type of sweetness in there too. In the smell, toasty notes picking up now as it cools a little bit. The temperature drops a little, so it gets more of a baked bread, warm baked bread. So with the raisin, it's almost kind of a warm raisin bread. Nice, heavy, kind of dense aroma there, rich aroma. So I'm going to actually turn this over now and give it a shake. So the advantage of a tasting of cupping sets like this is that you can quickly evaluate and fairly conveniently evaluate things like a row of different cups of bowls of the liquor there, of different leaves. So you can have a row of these and quickly glance. And looking at this one by itself, you see these leaves have changed in color. They've moved from that kind of pale golden, silvery looking color to now you get more of the olive drab moving over towards a bit of a rust type color there. Here, leaves have they've softened up. You can actually tease these open and kind of look at some of the needle inside. Actually peeling this apart a little bit, the inner, for example, this particular needle that I've got, you peel away that outer leaf, that new leaf there, the inner bud here is still dry. It still has parts that were not fully infused or soaked in the water there, indicating that subsequent steeps will have potential because there's still flavor and character there that has not been unlocked. Leaves have not really changed that much to comment on. I see fairly. I don't see patches of oxidation. I see rather a more even color of a bit of a light rust over the majority of the surface of these leaves, indicating that any oxidation that took place was kind of widespread across the whole of the leaves here, at least in that particular leaf. And the color of these others suggests that that's happening in other and in many of these leaves as well. Leaves are fairly tender. As I peel them, the edges break off fairly easily there. Okay, so I'm going to get now into the liquor. To do that, you need to be able to look at the liquor like so. Hold that up to the light, and you see that is a rather pale golden type of color, lighter than honey, thinner, lighter than a honey, a bit deeper in hue than say a Belgian beer kind of look. A little bit of a starchy type of smell, a little bit of that hay, cut hay, mown hay kind of smell coming off now. The raisin aspect that was in the dry leaf aroma has subdued somewhat. Looking down in the cup, still not murky, not dull, but just a little bit darker compared to Chinese silver needles, mouthfeel, the texture here, a bit thicker, a bit smoother, and sweeter. So it gives this kind of, it's more silken than a lot of the silver needle, Chinese silver needle that's out there. It feels very thin, silken honey kind of experience there on the tongue. That sweetness you pick up in the taste and somewhat in the aroma. The aftertaste kind of carries a bit of sweetness as well. And again, this is thin or light, kind of a raisiny sweetness there. A bit, maybe even a light kind of honey type of sweetness. The actual taste as I'm swirling in my mouth is quite subdued. There's not as much going on there, so it does have a texture to it. It does have some sweetness going on. It's got a very light kind of raisiny aspect that I mentioned before. A little bit of you pick up bits of the starchy type aspect. Starchy being on the edge of, say, a raw white potato kind of starchy aspect there. Looking at this tea as a whole, this tea, the focus is more here on aftertaste. It continues to have this gentle but full thickness, sweetness on the tongue, resting more on the front of the tongue, so it gets more of this kind of, again, a very light, thin honey kind of coating on the mouth, on the tongue, the top of the tongue. That aftertaste extends for quite a while compared to a lot of your other silver needles. So looking at this tea, it is interesting. It's got some worthwhile components to it. This is not that much of a forward tea. It's more of what's happening in the back of the whole tasting process. So considering it's more one than the other, not as rounded in that sense of front experience, back end experience, I would give this one a 90. Again, nice components, something to kind of sit back, sip slowly, and savor and draw out those experiences of what just has come to be in your mouth, on your palate. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find teas like this one and others that give you different experiences, both forward in the aftertaste, texture, aroma, all those kinds of experiences. You can subscribe to the newsletter and get tea reviews like this delivered directly into your inbox. You can subscribe to the member content area to get more in-depth information on tea locations, tea people, news and development, and tea research as well.